We are joined by Jariko Denman, a former Army Ranger who served in Afghanistan, who was right there in Kabul working with other vets to get these Afghan allies and their families out of that country. Jariko, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. You're in Doha right now, safe. You got out just minutes before this attack. I know you've been in touch with people who responded to that scene yesterday. What are they telling you right now?
Right now, a lot of the details are still, coming in and spotty, but they're all very, very much on the same tune that it was just carnage.
You left just before the attack. You were working there. There had been a warning in place when you were on the ground about how dangerous this possible threat could be. What were the conditions that you saw?
There were multiple times where we had to close the gate to activity to bring people in due to, these same threats that would have resulted in the same result here.
What were the conditions that you saw outside those gates there?
The conditions outside the gate are, I was in the Army 20 years. I deployed 15 times, and they're the worst things I've ever seen. Families, people carrying toddlers, babies, elderly, trying to get to these gates, to get to us, to get through. And I would describe it as a mosh pit on steroids, 600-700 meters long of compacted human beings trying to get to one little choke point. It was terrible. And
what were the conditions that your friends, those service members who were out there working, what were they up against?
They were up against, the same thing a lot of us were, and that is just way more people than the assets that we had there could deal with. Again, in 20 years, I never saw an operating force more sleep deprived or just working more than these Marines and other, airmen and soldiers that were on the ground.
Do you believe an attack was inevitable?
I think that we were very vulnerable to an attack. I couldn't speak to the intelligence situation enough to say if it was vulnerable, but I will say that the way that we were forced to expose ourselves in order to get our people in made us very, very much vulnerable to it.
What do you mean by that?
I mean to say that, normally in doing operations in a combat zone, you need standoff from potential threats, right? And in order for us to, close the gap and distance in order to communicate with these people and find out who and who shouldn't be coming through that gate, you had to close that distance and assume a ton of risk. So with the sheer numbers of people coming in, we didn't have the time to, do those different steps in security of, walking up, talk to them, search them, and do all those things. It was just, mob of, 7,000-8,000 people arm's distance away.
Some of those people outside that gate, those people you were there trying to get out, those Afghan allies who risked their lives to help our country, you say you've seen people show up at that gate with the proper paperwork to leave, and they have not been allowed to leave. Are people being turned away, and do you believe that those people who can get out and have the paperwork to get out will be able to get out after American forces leave on Tuesday?
I don't know if they're going to be able to get out. I have hope that they will, and I think that just seeing the way that our community flexed and was just learning on the fly and getting these people out from a situation that none of us had ever seen before, I think that the change in the operating environment of that airport being closed is not going to slow us down. I think we're gonna find ways to continue to get people out, and this is very much not over on the 31st.
Jariko, thank you so much for your time this morning, and know that we are grieving as a nation for those service members whose lives were lost yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.